friends, Lord, her faith that she's had in you, Lord. We just ask today, Lord, as we remember her, we celebrate her life today, Father, that you will just give everybody here just comfort and mercy, Father, as they struggle with this. It's hard for us, Father. We know that she is definitely in eternity in a better place, Lord. We just thank you for that, Lord. We just ask you to comfort everybody here today, Lord, as we share about her life here. Amen. 5. She was born in Nisqually, New York. Is that how you spell it? I'm not sure how you say.
Saratoga.
Is it Saratoga? Well, I've got it here, N-I-S-K.
Yeah.
It's kind of, but it was Saratoga. Okay, well, Saratoga is much easier to say, so we'll say Saratoga, New York. Melinda got to spend more than 65 years here on this earth, and even though some of those years were tough years, I'm sure she does not regret the legacy she leaves here today. Family and friends, this life is hard, and it hurts, and hang-ups, and frustrations. We will have good days and we will have bad days, but there are some days that are just a difference because they're amazing, because they'll make a difference for eternity. I am more than sure the day that her children were born is one of those days. I know she loved Isaiah and Jeremiah, but having grandchildren is so special because as grandparents, we get to spoil them. And then we get to send them home. I'm more than sure the day Addison was born was an awesome day for her. A wise minister named Rick Warren once wrote, "I have been at the bedside of many people in their final moments when they stand on the edge of eternity. And I have never heard anyone say, 'Bring me my diplomas. I want to look at them one last time.' Or 'Show me my awards or my medals or that gold watch I was given.' When life on earth is ending, people don't surround themselves with objects. What we want around us is people we love and have relationships with. In our final moments, we all realize that relationships are all what life is all about. Wisdom is learning that truth sooner rather than later. Don't wait until you're on your deathbed to figure out that nothing matters more. Life is about relationships, family, children, work, faith, etc. Melinda understood this. She loved to serve her family. She loved her family. That's what life is about. Today we honor Melinda by remembering her. And so the best ways to remember her is to tell stories about her, what she meant to your life, what she meant to you. So I'm going to do a sharing time right now, and we're going to start out with Amy, who just...
I can't promise this is going to sound as good as everything he just said, so bear with me. But Mindi was like a mother to me, and she was also my friend. I never thought that I would say I would be friends with a 65-year-old woman at such a young age, but I like to think that we were meant to meet certain people in our lives, and she was definitely one of those people. The first time we met, I said when I got older I want to be just like her. I didn't know how much that stood true at the time until I got to learn how much of a beautiful human being she was. The amount of empathy and understanding she had for others, the love she had for her 2 boys and her grandchild and all of her fur babies, and the incredible amount of strength and fight inside of her. Mindi was the person that I could always count on. When I was younger and I got myself into situations I shouldn't have been in and I felt stuck, I would call her. The only question she ever asked were, "Are you okay?" and "Where are you?" And she was there in minutes. She helped me in ways I can't explain and can never be repaid. She never judged me and was always there if I needed a shoulder to cry on, needed advice, or a safe place to stay. She never owed me anything. It was all out of the kindness of her heart. She's passed that kindness down to her sons and her beautiful granddaughter, Addie. Those 3 gave her the strength to not give up and to keep going. She knew no matter what that Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Addie loved her and cared for her. Now that she's gone, we must continue to pray and reach out to them and let them know they aren't alone and continue to fight the everyday struggles that life throws at us. As for her cats, we all know those were her babies. I've never met somebody so determined to make sure those kitties were receiving the care and love they needed and deserved. It's very bittersweet for me because the selfish side of me wanted to take them all home when she passed, and I've grown an attachment to a lot of them, and I didn't want to see them go. But I know they're all in good hands and are with people that may be trusted, and they can get the proper care and life that they deserve. I think we can all agree she was a cat lover. Some may say even a crazy cat lady, and she was. She was crazy and stubborn, and those are the things that I loved about her. A few months back, she was in the hospital for a few days, and she needed me to bring her some things. When I got to the hospital room, she asked me if it smelled like cigarettes. I said, a little bit, yeah, why? And she said, I just had to smoke a cigarette really badly, and they wouldn't let me outside, so I just took a few puffs. I shook my head and I chuckled. You try telling a 65-year-old woman that wants to go home that she can't smoke a cigarette. That day in the hospital, I remember her telling me one of her biggest fears was dying alone. And I promised her that wouldn't happen. And she's been through far worse, and she's one hell of a fighter. Whenever I have a rough day, I think of her and how she would push herself through it. She gave me hope that no matter what life throws at you, you will always find a way. Mindi, I kept my promise. In the end, you weren't alone. And I thank you for being a friend and a role model to me, and for showing me true kindness and love. I will think of you every day, and always keep you in my heart, even when I'm 65 years old.
This is from Kelly Shannon. It says, in 2005, I joined MySpace, and I met a woman who had a cat, whose cat had a MySpace, so I made one for my cat. Through them, I met this woman named Mindi Aronson and her cat, Snowshoes. Who would have known that because of that website and our two little cats, I would have made one of my best friends in life. After MySpace, we moved to Facebook, and we kept in contact. It was more than just that. We became real friends. Friends to the point that I would call this woman my sister. We called each other and visited each other through the good times and the bad. When I got cancer, she was there to help me through it and keep me strong. Thank you, Mindi Aronson, for watching out over me in this life, and I sure know you'll be watching over me from heaven. I'm a better person to have had you in my life. I love you with all my heart. Watch out over my fur kids until we see each other again. This is Mindi and Marina are showing. In the beginning, Shoes and Nelson dancing in the rain. MySpace is a 12-year-old girl from Russia. Who knows? January 27, 2007 was the night we learned we were older cat ladies and not 12-year-olds from Russia. From there, we just got closer. I found out she had the same birthdays as my man, 4/10/22 and 4/10/55. Has to mean something. It did. Spring 2007, drove across Florida to meet a cat. His owner and her sons. Why not? What could go wrong? That night, I met 4 souls that would change my life. There's just too much to say, too much to put in the paper. So many great memories. The Pinellas Trail, the fog coming in at Clearwater, laughing for hours at the way Shoe's head fit in his dish just perfectly. That night I was sitting at home on Farmville, and she walked into my apartment. That was the best gift I'd ever gotten. I wish you could have seen her face that night. Wish you were here with us, but I know you are at peace, healthy and whole. You know I love you, Marina. Marina, is that we were born to die, and we die to live. As seedlings of God, we barely blossom on earth. We full flowers in heaven. From Russell Wilson. This is from Stephanie. Mindi was the best friend I ever had, and we'd go over there. My brother always called Mindi Grandma, and she always tell me good or bad stories when she got the cats. I love Mindi so much. I will always remember Mindi. Love you, Mindi. I'm very happy and blessed that Mindi came into my life. She was a wonderful friend and even though we didn't share blood, she was family. My son Timothy called her grandma. Thursday before she passed, I took her to get a brace for her back. When she came out, she was so happy. She said to me, "Evie, I can lift my arms up and it doesn't hurt. I can have steak now and be able to cut it." We went to Winn-Dixie to get her meds, and she stood in front of her walker, arms out, and said, "Look at me balance." Later that day, Mindy offered to watch my kids. She would order a pizza, watch movies if I ever needed a few hours. Friday evening, my dad, my daughter, Stephanie, and I went over to feed the cats and help. We couldn't stay as long as I wanted, but when we left, I had my dad and daughter get out while I held on to the cats so they wouldn't get out. Once they were out, I put them down and was about to walk out, but something stopped me. I turned around and gave Mindy a hug. Little did I know that was going to be my last hug from her. This is from Christine. The internet can be an amazing place. Around 15 years ago, I met a sweet woman named Mindi and the beach crew on MySpace. We quickly became friends and slowly evolved into a group of like-minded people with common denominator being our love animals. We would have a little cat parties online. Each cat had portrayed a different persona. It was a special time. It may have seemed juvenile to many, but to us it was fun. We bonded in a way that many wouldn't understand. As times changed, we slowly transitioned to Facebook, and we all reconnected again. We have been through so much together: rescues, births, deaths, fun, and friendship. We grieved for one another's fur babies like it was our own, like a family member we never met. We eventually got to know members of each other's family. We celebrated births, and grieved deaths of family members and beloved pets. We went through medical scares, heart attacks, cancer, surgeries, and other tragedies. We would be there one for each other. Who would have thought this bond would last and be so strong? Just by Fluke's social media platform, Mindy and I and a few close friends always checked in on each other. I lived the closest to Mindy, and I would see each other a few times a year. On June 2020, I lost my soul sister, my friend, and someone that has been a constant in my life for a very long time. I still can't believe she's gone. I wake up every morning now looking for her check mark on our group chat. It was our daily check-in. Dear Mindy, I know you are in a better place and you're reunited with all those who we've lost. Now when I think of you, I always look to the skies and know you're watching over everyone. I love you, Mindy, and when you left, you took a big piece of my heart with you. This is from Jennifer. Who knew that when I moved into the duplex that I would meet someone who came to mean so much to me? Mindy would always sit outside on her little ghetto, tending to her plants and cats. We began to talk and slowly learn more about each other. We became close and kept it that way. When Mindy had her heart attack, she called me. I got to the hospital and stayed until she was resting. I learned quickly to take care of all the cats and took care of them until she got home. I saw at the time she was away how much she loved her animals, always checking in and making sure they got the love they were accustomed to. After that, anytime Mindy and I met someone, she would introduce me as the one who saved her life. While that may not have been true, she has taught me to love and never give up. Every time she was not down, she struggled and found a way to overcome. I will remember our silly talks and laughing until we cried, sitting outside watching the world go by. I love you, and I always remember your heart. We met as neighbors, but became family. This is from Mindy's son Jeremiah, who wasn't able to be with us today. I always thought my mom would live forever. She was like a superhero to me. She was loving, she was kind, she was honest, and everyone that has gotten to spend one moment with her felt in love with her. She raised 2 boys, all by herself. And trust me, we did not make it easy for her. But she was the strongest woman I've ever met and was the greatest example of how to love. I find peace knowing that when I asked her if she believed in Jesus Christ, and she told me she did, It makes me smile because Jesus said that heaven is paradise. And the word paradise is a Persian word for animal park. Where else could she be happier than with animals? God also promised that in heaven he would wipe away all the tears from their eyes, and there would be no more death, no more sorrow, no more crying. Neither shall there be any more pain, for all the former things have passed away, and has made all things new. So I know that she is at peace and sees us all now. She would want us to be strong and know for every kindness that was shown to her and every act of love that she was doing all she can up there to send blessings down to us. I understand now that she will always live forever. First in my heart and then in my actions. She'll always be my hero because she never gave up and loved until the end. May we always remember her with a pair of flip-flops on her feet and a smile on her face. A smile that touched each one of us in ways we will never forget. So let us smile today for her and know she is at peace. That's pretty awesome, guys, that people took time to share their hearts. Like your mom and your friend, right? The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your
I don't know, I mean, maybe here, so like all these in the back. Something like that. Or we can take it outside of, you know. I can't.
Okay, did you get?
I'll be back.
Look at all them aloe plants. I took one in the calf.
Suck it up, Buttercup.
That's medicine. It's a good medicine. It's got a boo-boo.
Look, there's so many that have fallen.